Today we're over at the Mountain View facility where every Friday we get together and we lay out the next 3 or 4 weeks worth of carrots so that everybody in farming and harvesting and sales and the facilities can get together and evaluate what we have coming up as far as quality, size, and volume. So we get together and very casually walk through and look at each carrot. So we'll go through each row and look. We start out with conventional carrots, conventional fresh carrots on the right side, then we move to organic fresh carrots, then we move to organic baby carrots, and we finish with conventional babies on the far side. So we'll just walk through, take a peek at a few fields, and you'll see kind of what we do every single Friday. This is one of the most important meetings that we have. Everything starts here. We decide what we're going to harvest for the next few weeks, get a game plan together, we go put a planning schedule together, and then we follow up on Tuesday with a production meeting where we actually look at how did the fields perform, do we need to make any midweek adjustments. So come along and we'll go look at a couple of these fields and point out some of the things that we look for when we're in this meeting. So when we look up and down the row here, you can see the quality of the carrots coming out of Imperial are really, really good. This is probably a little better than average year. Weather's been really nice down there, so we have really good length and good stands. This particular field, if you look the way we lay these out, we try to go through and grade the carrots. So these would be all the carrots that we think are packable. On this side would be the carrots that we don't think would pack. This is unusual because this particular field has no culls that we would feel like would not make it into the bag. Rarely see this. So what we'll do, we'll come take a look at this. The sample guys go out every week, they pull the samples from the fields, they bring them in, they remove the tops, they list the names, and then we have a map with every one of these fields, and it's laid out, gives us the name of the field number, the area, and then there's a little bit of detail here. You can see where we've been pulling samples throughout the season, and the most recent ones and the past ones, and so it shows you that we're sampling across the field and making sure that we get a good sample of what's actually there. Little round circles have numbers in them, 53, 49, 31. Those are actual stand counts. So if you went over and you took one bed foot of bed and you pulled every carrot in there, there would be 27 in this spot, 31, 28. And then we list that the average stand count here was 37 across this field. It's got the water date, it's got the variety. This field was watered September 30th. It's been 151 days since we watered it, with an average stand count of 37, Maverick's the variety. And so this field's getting really close to harvest. It will be harvested in this next week to 10 days. Sizing's good, there's a few jumbos in it, not too many, but the undersize is minimal. So every one of these fields will have a map and they will have a description of what the field is. Like I said, this is an exceptional example. We'll go around and find a couple fields that have issues and point out exactly what are wrong with those fields. So if we hop around just to kind of point out some issues that we have, when we come over here to the colored fresh, obviously there's rainbow field, and the rainbow carrots are a big mover for us, and it's one of the categories that's growing the quickest, most rapid in the whole carrot category. So we've got several different varieties that we use. One of the issues we have though with the colored carrots is the colors have not been around or refined nearly as long as the orange carrots. So we still have a lot of off types and we have trouble with sizing. So all these carrots are planted at the same time, in the same field, watered the same time, yet you can see the difference between some of the varieties. This is a problem that we're trying to refine. Typically, the purple and whites have a tendency to get way too big, too early, versus the yellow and the orange. Here's another field that will show you that the predominant big carrots are the purples, then we go yellow, or whites, then we go yellow and orange. This is something we'll be refining over the next 4 and 5 years as we continue to develop this program. This makes for a difficult pack in the facility, but it's the best seed and the best varieties that we have right now. If we come over here back to a conventional fresh field, this is probably 3 to 4 weeks out if you look at these particular carrots up and down this row and notice how few culls there are. So this is going to be a really good season down in the desert. Packouts are going to be higher than average, which will probably make us a little bit long, and we'll have to work through that long position. But this is what you want to see every day, that when you're in here every Friday looking at these carrots. If we jump over to organic fresh, this is a particular field of concern when you look at it. And this field is being grown for organic fresh. Obviously has quite a few culls in it. And this is a Kono field in the Coachella Valley. We've got a lot of pythium issues that have caused this stubbing, a lot of this forking, and there would be a high percentage of culls. These carrots are worth nothing except maybe for juice, and it'll impact our overall pack out. When you look here, it's one of the newer fields that we're bringing in, so we don't have as much data. As it goes further along, we'll have more and more data, but this is an issue that we have when we don't have proper rotation. This is a new field that we picked up a couple years ago. That's a lease that we have, but it hasn't had the rotation issue, the rotations that we do with the callow veg. This field will improve. We'll grow broccoli, we'll grow cauliflower, we'll grow a few brassicas, and we will get rid of this pythium. Conventionally, there are ways of doing it with fumigants. Organically, we don't have any, so we load it up with compost, and we grow broccoli and cauliflower and other brassica crops, turn them under, and it will fume and actually kill off this pythium. So this field, the next go around 3 years from now, will be significantly better. So this is an organic baby field down in the Yuma, Winter Haven, California area. This is on leased ground, but we've been farming this now for about 20 years. Grows really good carrots. You get really good length out of it. It's very sandy, but we do fight with some nematode issues. And so when we have nematodes in the ground, they can cause havoc with the taproot. And you see this galling on it where there's this little round infected spot. And once this particular carrot gets hit with a nematode, there's nothing else that it can do. We don't have the best rotation down in Yuma. We don't do all of our organic crops just because it's so far away from our facility. So we do fight this a little bit, so we've got to be very selective on the ground that we use down there. We continue to test out new varieties. A couple years ago, we found this slender cut, and it has exactly what we want as far as a baby carrot goes. The same diameter all the way. You're going to get a lot of 2-inch pieces out of this. This is a variety we latched onto years and years ago. Took quite a while, takes over 5 years to develop the seed to the point where we can get volume. And then we started growing it around here in the winter, and it started splitting really bad. And so we had to find an opportunity to be able to plant it where it wouldn't split, and it seems to work really well down in Imperial and Coachella, so we're focusing that seed down there. Here's a new variety that's just in the testing phase. It's just getting to the point where we can actually get some large enough trials to see what it's going to do. But it too is going to have very similar characteristics. It doesn't seem to be splitting. There's really no core. So this looks like a great potential for us. So every week we all get together, everyone comes and talks a little bit about the fields, how the sheds are running, and then what are we going to do in the future next couple of weeks. The one thing that is missing here that is difficult is because the carrots are gathered all throughout the week, we don't get the opportunity to bring the carrots in with the tops because the tops have a tendency to break down and melt. The tops, although we don't get a good look at them here, are really almost as important as the carrot, because if we don't have a strong top, we can't get the carrot out with the harvester. So we have to get further information from the growers and the grower reps and ask them, what do the tops look like? And then that might change when and what order that we take some of these fields. if you have a problem with Alternaria where the tops are breaking down and you know that if you don't go get that field now, you could lose it, and then the tops would just snap off and you'd leave the carrot in the ground. So there are other aspects to the carrot that we've got to look at, and then we've got to look at the chemical restrictions that are on the conventional. So there are quite a few things that go into discussions at this particular meeting, and we will be talking about how are the tops, when was the last fertilizer application, when was the last water application. And with everyone here in the room from all the different departments, it's a great meeting. It's very casual, but we get all the information that we need. We'll break up after this meeting and go out, and we will list the fields and put an order together as to how we will harvest them and attack them going forward. And like I said, then we'll follow up on Tuesday. We'll meet in the office as a group, and we'll look at actual production numbers and repeat it. And we do this every single Friday, and we have some of the sample guys that go all over the state and multiple states to gather those samples and bring them here and have them ready for us every Friday morning.